The Exodus. Moses set out, the leader of God's chosen people. As God had intimated to Moses, Aaron met him, and the meeting was one of great joy. God spoke through the lips of Aaron, but Moses was always God's representative. When their joined mission was explained to their people, the Israelites, the slaves in Egypt, the whole nation of Israel was filled with new hope. Moses and Aaron appeared before Pharaoh. They gave him their message. Our God asks you to let the Israelite people go, so they may go to the desert and offer sacrifice to the one true God. I do not know your God, said the Pharaoh. They cannot go. After this refusal, the work for the Israelites was made harder still. They were not greatly disturbed. Moses encouraged them to trust in God. So a second time, Moses and Aaron appeared before Pharaoh. Moses tried to give Pharaoh an understanding of the great power God had given them. In his presence, Aaron's rod was changed into a serpent. Pharaoh was not impressed. The Israelites could not go. Then followed a succession of plagues. The water of the Nile was changed to blood. Frogs covered the land and ruined it all. Flies plagued man and animal alike. After the third plague, Pharaoh and his ministers began to reason that perhaps this God of Moses and Aaron should be obeyed. Word was sent to Moses for the Israelites to leave Egypt. But as soon as the plague ended, Pharaoh withdrew his word. His heart was hardened. Pharaoh and all kings were not a match for an almighty God. So worse things followed. Millions of frogs ate all the crops. Swarms of mosquitoes pestered all living things. Clouds of flies filled the air. At each new plague, Pharaoh agreed that the Israelites could go. But when, at the prayer of Moses, the plague eased, Pharaoh again changed his mind. The plagues were becoming worse. Ulcerous sores sickened man and animal. Locusts swarmed the land. And then there came a blinding darkness, so dark that it could almost be felt. No one dared to move. Results, however, were no better. Pharaoh's heart was still hardened. The ancient Egyptian people believed that the Pharaoh was a god. He would not admit that the true one God was greater. These 9 plagues took place at the word of Moses, and they were stopped when Moses prayed. None of these plagues struck the home of the Israelite people. God was about to send the 10th and the most frightful of all the plagues. Before the final 10th plague, Moses called the leaders of the tribes of Israel together and told them how to prepare for the Passover. On the 10th day of the month, each family was to select a lamb and keep it until the 14th day. In the evening, they were to offer it in sacrifice, sprinkling the doorposts with the lamb's blood. They were to roast the lamb and serve it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. The meal was to be taken quickly, standing at the table, as they had to be ready to leave Egypt. At midnight, God's angel of death passed over Egypt. His punishment entered every door that was not sprinkled with the blood of the Lamb. The eldest child in every Egyptian home, from the king's son down, lay dead. So also the firstborn of every animal. There was loud screaming and lamentation in all the land. Pharaoh sent in haste for Moses and Aaron and told them to leave at once. And all of Israel was to go with them. There was great tumult. The Israelites were packing and marching off. The Egyptians, in fear, even helped them to get away. They gave them gold, silver, clothing, and other valuables, trying to make up now for all the misery they had heaped upon them in all those years of slavery. The Israelites moved out of Egypt, a free people. They were relieved, but they knew well that a desert land lay between them and the promised land of their forefathers, the land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the Lord was their guard and guide at all times. The Lord went before them, a pillar of cloud by day, and by night a pillar of fire. The caravan of people moved south, but was soon confronted by the Red Sea. By this time, Pharaoh regretted that he had freed the Israelites. He was angry. He sent his army with chariots to pursue them and bring them back. When the Israelites saw the army approaching from behind and the sea before them, they began to murmur and find fault with Moses and complain. But Moses trusted God. He prayed for help. God told Moses to stretch his rod over the sea to divide the waters. And so the Israelites walked to safety to the opposite side of a dry path between great walls of water. With great speed, the Egyptian army followed over the same path through the Red Sea. When they reached its center, God told Moses to stretch his rod over the water again. The two walls of water rolled back over the path. Pharaoh's army was buried in the sea. Moses and all Israel, safe on the other side, sang hymns of praise to God. Miriam, a prophetess and the sister of Moses and Aaron, played on a tambourine. The women joined in with song and a dance.